Hi everyone, welcome. This is a detailed procedure for deploying ACIOps within a Docker environment. Prior to initiating the installation, ensure that both Docker and Docker Compose are properly installed on your system. If these tools are not installed, please refer to the official Docker documentation for your platform. Select the appropriate version for your VM and follow the installation steps provided. Once Docker and Docker Compose are installed, you can validate the installation by executing the following commands: Docker Compose version and Docker version. The successful return of the version detail confirms that the installation has been completed correctly. Before proceeding with the installation, it is essential to understand the key components involved in ACIOps deployment. There are some required components and some optional components. The required components are ACIOps UI. This container provides the user interface for interacting with ACIOps. ACIOps server. This container is the backend server responsible for managing the infrastructure. ACIOps database. This is a custom database based on Postgres that stores configuration data, logs, and operational data. The optional components are a Terraform server. This is used to enable the ACI as code functionality, allowing for infrastructure as code operations. A GitLab server. This is required if you intend to use GitLab for storing configurations. The Terraform and GitLab servers are optional and only necessary if you plan to leverage the ACI as code feature for automating configuration management. If using GitLab, you can deploy either a local or cloud-based instance of GitLab. Both configurations are supported. Now, let's examine the Docker configuration required for deploying all components of ACIOps. The configuration file includes definitions for the following: the ACIOps UI configuration, the ACIOps server configuration, the ACIOps database configuration, a Terraform build configuration, and a GitLab server configuration. The Terraform build requires a specific Docker file that has been provided below. This Docker file installs Debian, configures the necessary dependencies, including Terraform, and exposes Terraform on port 22. Ensure that both the Docker Compose configuration file and the Docker file are copied to your VM before proceeding with the installation. Since there are no active Docker containers in my environment, executing the Docker Compose build command will initiate the container deployment process, including the Terraform server build, defined in the Docker file. The deployment process will be relatively quick if the required images have been pre-downloaded. If this is the first installation, the process may take some additional time to download the necessary images and complete the build. Upon completion of the build, execute the docker ps command to check the status of your containers. Initially, you should observe 4 containers in a healthy state and 1 container in the starting state. After approximately 4 minutes, all containers should transition to a healthy state, indicating that the system is ready for use. Rerunning the docker ps command should confirm that all containers are healthy and accessible. You would notice that a few directories were created by the Docker Compose build operation. These directories are necessary for the operations of the containers. Now that all the containers are in a healthy state, retrieve the IP of your VM and proceed to access the ACIOps UI. The default username and password is ACIOps. Upon the first login, a prompt will appear indicating that no fabric has been discovered. To initiate fabric discovery, you will need to provide the following details: APIC IP address, APIC username, and the APIC password. Once these credentials have been entered, ACIOps will begin the discovery of your fabric. This process involves connecting to the controller, retrieving necessary configuration data, and populating the ACIOps database. The discovery process typically takes a few minutes. During this time, The controllers and switches within the fabric will be identified and mapped within ACIOps. The ACIOps infrastructure dashboard will display the status of initialization in progress. Within 10 minutes, the entire infrastructure should be discovered and ACIOps would be fully operational. The system is now configured to manage and monitor the ACI infrastructure, and you can begin leveraging the full capabilities of ACIOps for network management, network automation, and network monitoring.